and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and today I'm sharing a design team project for the Mailroom Craft Challenge where we are celebrating our 7th birthday. So our theme for the challenge is birthday, and we have some prizes up for grabs for people who play along. There are 2 prizes, both of which are certificates to the Funky Fossil Design store, which I will talk about a little bit more in a moment. But firstly, let's talk about the card. So I have a white card base and I've masked off the edges and a strip along the middle just with washi tape according to a sketch that I've showed on the corner, and I'm going to be doing some stenciling over this. But before I do my stenciling, I want to add just a very soft layer of colour to the background. This will help define the edges of that masked area. I'm using Aquatini ink from Catherine Paula for this because I'm again making a sea-themed card. I hope you're not sick of them yet. And the Aquatini is a perfect colour for that. So here is the Funky Fossil Design store. As I said, there are 2 prizes up for grabs, which are a £25 gift certificate and a £15 gift certificate. And Funky Fossil Designs has some great stamps and stencils, and I am going to be showing you how I used this turtle stencil to make a masculine birthday card. So with the ink blending done, I'm using my anti-static powder tool on my card base because I'm going to be heat embossing through the stencil. And I want to make sure that none of the embossing powder is going to stick where I don't want it to, because I want my stencil design to be nice and crisp. Now I've laid the turtle stencil into place and I have my embossing ink, and I'm going to apply that through the stencil. Normally when I heat emboss through a stencil, which I do from time to time, I usually just press the ink pad directly onto the stencil. But on this occasion I want to do selective embossing. I don't want to do the whole image with the same embossing powder. So by using my little finger dauber, this is a scrapbook.com finger dauber and they are stackable, so I have a little tower of them. Using the finger dauber allows me to get into just the little spaces that I want. So on this first go through, I'm only applying the ink to the turtle itself, and I'm not applying any of it to those watery or bubble accessory elements that are around the turtle image. I'm also trying to avoid putting any on the washi tape because then I'm just not wasting as much ink or powder by putting it on the mask. And I am kind of twisting as I apply the sponge tool, but I don't know if that's really necessary, but I just felt like it was helping me get into those cracks and crevices a bit more. When I put my stencil into place, I made a hinge with the washi tape, so I can now lift up and check how it looks and if I have ink everywhere before removing the stencil. If I didn't have this hinge in place, I would run the risk that if I lift it to check how everything is done, it doesn't go back down in quite the right place, and then my design would not be as crisp as I want it to be. So once I am happy with that, I'm going to remove the stencil and add some embossing powder. This is oiled slate embossing powder, which is from the Dockside Trio by Wow. And this is actually the first time I've used this particular embossing powder, but I really like how it turned out. I thought it worked really nicely for this turtle. I did still, despite using my anti-static powder tool, I think my ink maybe wasn't completely dry from my ink blending. So I did get a couple of stray pieces here and there, and I'm just tapping them off with a paintbrush. I actually ended up missing a few, but I don't think it matters too much. A few specks here and there just adds interest to the design. So once I am completely happy that I have the embossing powder where I want it and not where I don't want it, I will go in with my Wow dual speed heat gun. I've had this heating up off to the side whilst I was working on this. And this particular heat gun has 2 speed settings. The cooler speed setting is perfect for drying ink blending or watercolouring, and the second hotter heat setting is great for embossing. You can also use the cooler heat setting for embossing. It would just take a bit longer, but that's a good option, for example, if you're working on vellum or something that's going to warp very easily. Using the cooler heat setting means it won't warp as much. I'm going to bring in my sponge dauber and embossing ink again, and this time I'm inking just those watery bubble images. I don't know, what do you think they are? Are they bubbles? Are they water? Are they both? Are they neither? Is it something completely different? Am I completely insane? Let me know in the comments below. So again, just using my finger dauber to put the ink into those spaces. My card base was a bit warped here, so I'm taking extra care to hold the stencil down, even though I did have it taped down on the top. And I will again, as I did before, lift up and check how it looks. And then I'm going to apply my embossing powder. This is another embossing powder from the Dockside Trio. This one is called Glassy Ocean. And I did use this powder in another video recently, so you may remember that. This embossing powder did catch slightly on some places of the turtle, so I did use my paintbrush again to knock it off from those. As I was doing that though, I did think that actually that could be quite an interesting look, having that two-tone look, and in a way it would be like water caught on the edge of the turtle maybe. So if I was going to do this again, I would maybe leave that Glassy Ocean powder. I think that could be a very interesting look, having that overlapping the turtle as well. Again, I'm using the hotter setting on my heat gun to melt that, and then I'm completely done with my stenciling and heat embossing, so I can remove all of my masks and get to work on my sentiment. The sentiment is a retired dynamic from MFT, but you can use any word sentiment you want, and I did heat emboss this as well. I again used my sponge dauber and I put ink on the top portion of the word die cut, embossed it with the Glassy Ocean powder, and then put ink on the bottom portion and embossed with the oiled slate, and I thought that was a really interesting effect. I cut this 3 times and stacked them together and then adhered them into place over that masked horizontal strip across my image. And then all that was left to do was add some embellishments. I decided to add just 3 Nuvo drops in Sea Breeze, and I'm creating a visual triangle with these, and you can see here how that visual triangle is created, and actually that nicely frames the head area of the turtle, so it kind of brings your attention across there. And here you can see the completed card. I hope this inspires you to come and join in with our challenge. Don't forget there are prizes up for grabs, and here you can see you have until 11:55 PM UK time on Tuesday the 1st of September to play along with us. So it's a nice long time to join in and have a chance to win one of the prizes. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever tried embossing through a stencil and whether you like the technique. You can also press the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet subscribed to me, you can subscribe by clicking the button that's showing on screen now, and there are a couple of other videos showing there if you'd like to see more from me straight away. Otherwise, I'll thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!